Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I want to know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah, let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you and me and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. But today we are focusing on Black maternal health, specifically Black moms in pursuit of perfection. Black moms in pursuit of perfection. So before I bring my special guest on, I want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? In the comments, put your city and state so that we can give you a shout out. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as on the Greater Works Network on RokuTV. So tag a friend, like and share. Let all of the moms know they need to be on here because we're going to be talking about y'all tonight. All right. Especially those moms of small children, especially the moms of small children who are maybe struggling after childbirth. So join us. Let us know you are here. I see you, my sister Shayla from South Florida. Good evening. Thank you for being here. I see you, Isis J in Little Rock, Arkansas. Thank you for being here. Mr. Thaddeus Bruce from Tallahassee. Thank you for being here. So y'all, please like and share. Tell your moms, the moms in your life, especially the moms with small children or may have just had a baby not long ago, to tune in, because we are talking about postpartum, prenatal assistance as it relates to mom and their mindset. My mom is on here. Hey, Mom, thank you for being here all the way from Miami, Florida. Appreciate you. So, y'all, now I'm going to get this out because I've been getting clowned all day about this whole hurricane named Nicole. Yeah, I know. Y'all just put some respect on the name, okay? That's all I'm going to say about it. Put some respect on the name. Nicole is nothing to be played with. So you all be safe out there. They've canceled school. They've canceled the university classes tomorrow for most of the state because of Hurricane Nicole. So y'all be careful out in these streets in Florida. Hey there, Tracy Golay. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. All right. Shayla said, yeah, Hurricane Nicole. All right. Yeah, they've been clowning me all day about that, but it's okay. I still love y'all. All right. So I am going to go ahead and read my bio for my guest. My guest, let me tell you, my guest I found in the bathroom at the job. Okay. She had a flyer in the job, and I just so happened to need to help one of my citizens with specifically what she was offering. And so I was so intrigued with her conversation, and I was like, you need to be on the show. So at any rate, Miss Kyra Adams, she earned her bachelor's and master's degree in social work from Florida State University College of Social Work, where she currently serves as an adjunct professor. Go Knowles. After graduating, she has completed certifications in leadership and executive and administrative development, lactation counseling, perinatal mental health, and childbirth education. Her passion for birth work has also recently pushed her to complete doula training to further support the moms that she serves. So, y'all, she is a lifelong learner, clearly. Kyra completed specialized trainings to utilize evidence-based perinatal depression curricula, such as Mothers and Babies, developed by Northwestern University, as well as Moving Beyond Depression, which was developed by Cincinnati's Children's Hospital Medical Center. In March of 2021, Kyra further pursued her passion by launching Maternal and Perinatal Services, also known as MAPS, where she provides breastfeeding education, childbirth education, postpartum support to include a pregnancy loss support group. Her experience in maternal and child health throughout the years has allowed her to see the barriers in services, so she sought to bridge the gap in her community. So, y'all, help me welcome Miss Kyra Adams. Yay!
Yay! Finally made it.
Yes. Welcome, my sister. Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I appreciate you being here. So let me pause. I see Ozzy. Oh wait, Carmen Connor. How you doing? She said that's my
Yes,
sister. That's your sister for real?
that is my sister for real. We
I
are
did
blood
not
sisters.
know that. Oh my
Yes,
goodness. Yes, I love Carmen. Listen, she's doing great things over there at Pine View.
she
So
sure is.
she is. Wow. What? It's a small Tallahassee, I'm telling you. Thank you for
Hmm.
being on here. Ozzy is talking about my fro. Look, let me see. Do I have my pic nearby? Yes. There we go. I don't have the afro on, so but yes, I do have my pic nearby just in case. Indeed. All right. And so we got Carvia home.
Caribbean.
Caribia. Oh, I like that. All right, that's your sister.
That's our middle sister. I'm the youngest.
Nice. So the whole Adams crew is here, huh? Love it. Well, welcome. So tell the people who is Kyra. Not what you do, but who is
Hmm.
Kyra? Who are you?
Who am I? First and foremost, I am, I guess, well, yeah, I'm born and raised in Tallahassee. I
Mhm.
am a graduate of James S. Ricketts High School, and I am a graduate of Florida State University. However, I am a Gator fan. So
Mm.
I'm sorry for anybody that's a Noel fan. Well, you all are doing all right this season. We are all right too, but I am a Gator fan, true and through.
How you work that out?
Well, it was my dad. So my dad was always a Gator
Oh,
fan, and so it just kind of picked up from there.
gotcha.
And oh, I'm a mom. I always forget to tell that part. That's like the most important part that I always forget. But I am a mom. I
Okay.
have a 20-year-old son. His name is
Oh, what?
Kyron. A
Wait a
20.
20. Damn,
Yes.
you 22. What you talking about?
Thank you. I got carded earlier, and it was like, yeah, yes.
Wow.
I have
Black
a
don't crack,
20-year-old
huh?
son. His
Hmm.
name is Kyron, but we call him KC.
Aw.
And I have an 11-year-old son, and his name is Carson. So yes,
Okay. So that's a
yes,
little known
ma'am.
fact. Right. Nice. Okay. Very good. So we talked a little bit about how you got involved in this work, but I want you to share a little bit more in terms of like what really kind of prompted you to start your business.
Okay. So let's see. Once I graduated with a master's degree in social work, I went to work for a prenatal home visiting program that was local here in Tallahassee.
Hmm.
Love what I did. I thought I would have been with that program for the rest of my life. It was everything that I always kind of like wanted to do. Way back when I would say probably like high school, I was like, yeah, I want to be an OBGYN. I want to deliver babies, but that didn't necessarily work out. So some kind of way social work kind of came through, and a part of my school journey, actually when I was getting my bachelor's, I had to do an internship, and I actually interned with that home visiting program, and
Hmm.
I fell in love with the work. and it allowed me to kind of think about what my experience was. And with that experience, so with my older son, I can literally count on my hands like 10 people that was in my delivery room at the time that I delivered my oldest son. I can for sure count 10 people. And working with the moms that I was working with at that time during my internship, it allowed me to see that everybody doesn't really have that opportunity to have that type of support. We are a college town, so we have young students that come. They're from, other states, other cities that don't really have that support. So that really kind of is what started me and wanting to be able to support moms in their journey throughout pregnancy and beyond. So during my time of those years in Healthy Start, I still felt like there was more that was missing. I'm a hands-on learner. And with me being a hands-on learner, I don't want to just give somebody a handout and say, here, read this handout. You're going to have a healthy, happy baby, or you're going to be healthy and happy afterwards. It takes more than that. And so I felt like I was restricted in some of the things that I was wanting to do, wanting to implement. And I don't want to say that I'm a rebel, but I felt like with this type of thing, I had to be a rebel. And so with me being a rebel, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to trust God. I'm just going to have to step out on and have this leap of faith. Now I can say this leap of faith, it took some pushing from family and friends and support systems. It was like, Kyra, you know this, you can do it. But I was like, but no, I need a paycheck. No, I have kids. I got to make sure everything is situated. And finally, I took that step and started Maternal and Perinatal Services because, like I said, I just recognized that gap in that bridge. And that bridge is, number one, somebody that looks like them. And number two, somebody that cares. I'm not here to make $1 million. I'm here to save moms and babies, because if we look at the statistics, these are the women that and the families and babies that are being affected. Our African American moms and babies are the most at risk. And so if I can do the smallest little thing in the world, then I will do that. And so that's why and how I got here, if that answers the question, I think.
That absolutely answers the question. So, y'all, she has been offering these services for the free. You hear me? And so
Yes.
I commend her for just, making a way for herself and not having any excuses, but just doing it, right?
Absolutely.
Until until the coins do come rolling in, you still doing it
I'm
regardless,
still
right?
doing it.
I
I'm
love
not
it.
going to change anything about it either. So
I love it. I love it. So your sister said that has been her passion since she had her oldest son. All right. Well, you are doing it, and we appreciate your service and what you are doing. So before we dive into this topic, because I have a well certified professional on with all these letters behind her name, I want to read my disclaimer, which is that all topics, past, present, and future, on Conversations with Nicole are for informational purposes only. They are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. So, let's dive in. So, Black moms in the pursuit of perfection. Now, why would they be in the pursuit of perfection?
they would be in the pursuit of perfection because they recognize most of the time that there was something in their childhood that they didn't like. They wish that they might have been parented a little bit different. And so for that, they have this, I have to do better. I want to do better. And that starts that pursuit. And I don't even want to say that starts the pursuit. I think once you get pregnant, that pursuit might start because you have this idea, social media, TV, it has you thinking that you're going to have this wonderful experience of being pregnant, not only being pregnant, but, having this glamorous, now they're doing gender reveals, they have the baby showers, and then, we have this hospital, you're on the hospital bed, you're counting to 10, they're telling you to push, and this baby comes out and everything is so glamorous after that. And that piece of perfection is what sometimes hinders us moving forward, not just in, the whole, body image thing, but it comes to parenting as well. And so that pursuit of that sometimes, a lot of times, is what hinders us, and sometimes what contributes to the depression that may come along, especially when things don't go as planned as how we thought that it should go, or how TV showed that it might be.
Mm-hmm. So, we're talking about postpartum work as well.
Mhm.
And I've actually asked this question when I had a someone who was certified in perinatal care on about Black women in postpartum. Do Black women get postpartum?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All women, nobody is exempt. Not one woman is exempt from getting postpartum depression. Most of the time we hear people talk about baby blues, or it's that pregnancy crazy thing. But, African American women definitely are prone to getting postpartum depression. And it's not just, oh, I'm having a new baby. It is, I was dealing with childhood traumas. I'm dealing with current traumas. I'm dealing with issues in the home, issues with family. And those little stressors build up along with the hormonal changes that then can sometimes just rear its head once that baby comes. Because now not only are you being a mom, but you're also being the other roles that kind of come along with everything that you might have had going on before. And that's
Mhm.
another part about it, is what I've come to realize, we don't really prepare ourselves for that transition. And so with that transition, it makes things a little bit more complicated once that baby comes along.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because that time is an emotional time in and of itself, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Being a
it's a
mom too. Absolutely.
lot of hormones going on, a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so trying to get a handle or a hold on that so that you don't go over the deep end.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
I That deep end can get deep. It can be shallow, or it can just be as deep as you allow it to be. And
Mhm.
that's another part of, again, one, because I mean, at this point, I think the rates for unplanned pregnancy is like pretty much like 50-50.
Mhm.
And so with that being the case, because pregnant, most of them end up being unplanned, and you're not necessarily preparing yourself for what to expect. And
Mhm.
with that unplanned part of it, or that aspect of it, you're not already thinking about, okay, what is this going to be like, or how this change is going to be. And especially when we have so many different things going on, we're trying to already maintain our household, either it be school, either it be work. And so we always forget to take care of ourselves, because
Mhm.
we have, as they say, Black women, we have this, superhero complex where we have to feel like we're saving everybody and everything around us. And because
Mhm.
of that, and not taking care of ourselves, and not putting ourselves first in the midst of that, because we feel like it's kind of like it's a guilt thing. Like, how can I put myself first when I have kids that I have to take care of, or I have a husband, or I have a spouse, or whatever the case might be? We feel guilty for putting ourselves first. And so again, that just kind of adds up, because we keep pushing ourselves off. We keep pushing ourselves off until the end. And that's again where we find ourselves on that deep end, because we've been treading the waters, but we haven't taken that step. So let me put on a life coat, on a life jacket, and that life jacket simply, let me take a walk around the block. A life
Mhm.
jacket could be, let me go walk around. I mean, go take a ride. A life jacket could be, let me just go get me some ice cream. I'm not paying for nobody else. This is just time that I'm just going to spend for myself and to myself. So
Yeah.
with that, for sure, it
Mhm.
starts. Yeah.
So my sister has two little ones. They're
Okay.
3 and 4, and
Oh,
she said, "That's it. Guilty."
yes, that mom guilt.
Mhm. So how do you shake that guilt off?
how do you releasing those expectations, releasing the
Mhm.
expectations of feeling like you have to be perfect,
Mhm.
releasing the expectations that you have to do 100% everything for your kids. Yes, we have to take care of our kids. Yes, we have to feed them, we have to nourish them, we have to give them love. But I promise you, it is okay to be able to say that you want to do something for yourself. And so releasing that guilt, releasing that expectation of being perfect, as well as giving yourself some grace. Because we're going to mess up. As I said, I have a 20-year-old. I still mess up. With my 11-year-old, even have done it once, I still sometimes don't get it right, but I'm okay with not getting it right. And that's
Mhm.
really where it comes down to, where it boils down to, is you have to be okay with not, meeting every single mark and being able to move forward. Okay, I didn't get it right this time. I'll try again next time, and kind of keep on going from there.
Mhm. Okay. So don't be afraid to try. Don't it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay.
Yes.
Uh, you know, the world is not going to end.
It's not going to end by any
Mhm.
means. They still
Mhm.
going to love you. They still going to put
Mhm.
their feet on you. They still going to hug and kiss you and all of that. They don't know. But I think that's the other part is, because we've recognized, some of the things that we want to change about how either we were parented or how you even see others parent. Once you make that recognition, that's like the first step. And that's even where you kind of have to give yourself that credit, because you are already acknowledging, I don't want to be like so and so. And once you
Mhm.
make that first acknowledgement, that's why I tell my moms all the time, like, you have to give yourself credit for the littlest things. Like, being able to say, you know what, I fed my kids this morning. That's a pat on the back, because sometimes some moms don't do that. And so if you give yourself, you have to, those positive affirmations even goes along with it. I fed my kids. That's a positive affirmation. That is
Mhm.
a pat on the back for something that I did. And you have to be so, you have to go back to being so simple, to
Mhm.
where you're not always kind of looking at the big things. You have to start off with the small things. So
So celebrating the small victories.
celebrating the small victories. Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So Isis J, who is a clinician over in Arkansas, said, "I'll never forget when I was pregnant with my play auntie. Oh, and my play auntie told me, do not become a slave to your child. You
Hmm.
still get to have a life, and remember that child is going to grow up and live their own. I
Hmm.
finally understood that advice later on in motherhood."
Hmm.
Hmm. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna ask the audience to chime in. So how many of you mothers out there have felt like you were a slave to your child, or a slave to motherhood for that matter? If you will, in the comments, give me a thumbs up or a church finger, or wave your hand and let me know. All right, in the comments, let me know. Now, this is an interactive live and this is a safe space, so please feel free to chime in. All right, Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but said at these food prices, that's a huge accomplishment. So feeding your
Right.
child, listen, all of us gonna need a second job in a minute. The way
Right.
everything is going up. All right, so Shayla said yes, she has felt like a slave to motherhood, a slave to the children. Caravia, say her name again.
Caribia.
Carivia, I like that.
Yes.
Carivia. But Carivia said yes, me.
Yes. And I
Mm-hmm.
will say that she is a slave to her children. Like, even now, her kids are 16 and 13. And I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, if you don't sit down and let them wash them dishes, it's just, but it's, again, we have this thing, like, I feel like I have to do it. It has to be me,
Mhm.
when no. And I think that's the other part, is being able to accept support,
Yes.
not feeling like you have to do every single thing on your
Mhm.
own by yourself.
Yeah.
Being able to say, hey, husband, sister, friend, whatever I need. With Caribbean, when her 16-year-old was like literally 2-3 weeks, I can tell that my sister was like, she was on the go. She was still trying to wash clothes. She was still trying to, and I'm like, you need to rest. You just had a baby. And I kidnapped her baby for the weekend at 2 or 3 weeks old, just so that she can have that rest. And it's being able to utilize your support system. And we talk about birth plans during pregnancy, but there needs to be a postpartum plan. Who can you call to say, I need you to cook me some meals? We need to have postpartum. Who's going to bring, who's going to come wash clothes? Who's going to help you with these things so that you don't feel so exhausted and so overwhelmed with trying to take care of a new baby and everything else that you have going on in the household.
So
And
I love it. Have you created or helped some of the moms create postpartum plans?
We've talked about it, but I haven't created an actual form. But it might be in my repertoire somewhere of something, because it's needed. It is needed. We totally forget about, because that's the other part is, once baby is born, everybody's focus is on the baby. They want to come and hold baby. They want to come and see baby, while mom is sitting in the corner, borderline about to break down. And it's everybody's forgot about mom at that point, because while she was pregnant, they were wanting to rub her belly. They might have been feeding her and everything. Oh, is everything good? But once that baby comes, how's the baby doing? Is the baby okay? Can I hold the baby? Can I feed the baby? It's all of that. Everything goes to baby, and mom is just completely gone in the wind.
Mm-hmm. So Isa said her mom came to stay with her for 2 weeks.
It's needed.
Mm-hmm.
It's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So postpartum plan. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. So that could be, like you said, meals, running errands, doing laundry.
Yep.
All of that.
All of it. I used to, like, with my moms now that I'm doing childbirth with, I tell them, like, hey, when your friends call and they say that they want to come and see the baby after the baby is born, you got to have an even exchange. This is a transaction, and that transaction is, if you want to come, then I need you to do this. I need you to either bring something. I got some bottles in the sink. I need you to wash them. There has to be an even exchange. It can't be just one way. And that is that. So that's my postpartum plan that I talk about. I mean, that's the extent of it. But we really have to think outside of it. And then again, like I said, letting other people know what your expectations are after delivery. I expect spouse, husband, wife, whatever it may be, I expect you to, while I'm taking a nap, I expect you to keep the baby with you until it's time for me to wake up. If I'm breastfeeding, just watch the baby, and when it's time, just come and wake me up. But don't let baby sleep in the same room with me while I'm trying to sleep, because what's going to happen? Any noise that baby is making, you're going to wake up. You're going to get up, and baby might go right back to sleep. But now you're up and you can't go back to sleep. And now, okay, well, baby is asleep. I might as well go wash clothes. I might as well do this. I might as well do that. And then that's how that cycle starts, and it continues. So yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. So Isa said community care. My folks was like, leave the house for what? It's not 6 weeks yet. So you know how
that whole can't have a setback. Don't leave the house.
Exactly. Especially in the Black community. They always talk about a setback. You can't leave the house for at least 2 months.
That is it. But I mean, sometimes, now we're not saying go out to the mall, go to the club or anything, but I will say that I would tell a mom, if you have the opportunity to, just get in your car. It's nothing, you're safe. Go ride around Tallahassee. We got a whole Capitol Circle. You'll see a whole Tallahassee view, and just use that time to just get away. Use that time as your debriefing. I had one of my former employees, her thing was, her self-care was, she would go sit in the car. And she said her family, her kids, her husband knew that once she's outside and she's in it, that's her time to say, don't bother me. This is just my time. So being able to set out something to where you are able to just really just get in tune, debrief for the day, and something of the sort to where you're just not worried about nobody. It means so much. we don't realize it, but it really does mean a lot. So you got to be
Indeed.
creative with it though.
You gotta be creative, but like you said, that community support is very
Hmm.
important. Yeah,
Yes.
so my sister said, yes, it does. You can't go back to sleep like the baby does. So let me do
Hmm.
something while they sleep. So,
Hmm.
you know, so the first time I heard somebody compare uh, mothers to servicemen in terms of having PTSD, I thought it was crazy. But after hearing more about it, it made a lot of sense. And that was because of the sleep deprivation,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so that can be quite traumatic and be hard
Hmm.
on your body. So you
Yes.
got to get some sleep. You got to
Yeah.
get that rest because your body needs it in order to regenerate, in order for you to do what you need to do.
Mhm. Just as there's dental hygiene, there is a thing called sleep hygiene. It is 100% important. And that's one of the main questions that I ask. So I do an assessment for all my clients, either childbirth, breastfeeding, postpartum support, whatever. One of my questions is, how many hours of sleep do you get? How many meals a day are you getting? And what are your coping strategies? Those are my go-to questions that I ask, and I ask them for a reason because I need to know: are you sleeping? Are you getting food? Are you nourishing yourself? And then what are your coping strategies? And I get people that say, well, what's a coping strategy? I get people to say, well, what is self-care? Or they say that
Mm.
they don't do any self-care. And I'm like, listen, self-care is getting in the shower, it's turning off the lights, light you some candles, turn on some music. That's simple self-care. And I think that's the other misconception about self-care is that people think that it has to cost. People think, oh, it's going to get my nails done or it's going on a trip. It does not have to cost. There are just some things that you can just do sitting outside on the back patio, front porch, getting some fresh air. Those are simple things that can be considered self-care. So
Mhm. Love that. Love that. Love that. And moms deserve self care, right?
they do. They do.
Mhm.
Community
Mhm.
care, self-care and community care. That is my prescription
Okay.
always.
Self care and community care. But again, you do have to be intentional about it, right? It's not just going
Absolutely.
to like happen.
It's
You
not going to
got
appear until, yep, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. You can't be passive with it. It can't be, oh, well, I'll do it when baby goes to sleep, because I guarantee you something is going to come up.
right.
And so being intentional is highly important. That's like the first part of it is being intentional with it so that you can guarantee
Mhm.
that you'll do it and it'll get done.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So let me just pause real quick for those of you who are just joining us. It is Wellness Wednesday, and we are talking with Miss Kyra D. Adams of MAPS, which is Maternal and Perinatal Services. And we are talking about Black moms in the pursuit of perfection. Black moms in the pursuit of perfection. So we've talked around some of the mom guilt that takes place as well as wanting to be super mom and the need for self-care, community care, the need for a postpartum plan. But we also well, you and I have talked about how sometimes moms kind of feel like they're losing themselves as a
Hmm.
result of now the baby
Hmm.
or their small children. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know you've talked about some, at least you and I have talked about some of the clients that you've had, and feel like they've kind of lost themselves in trying to be this super mom, trying to take care of all of the things. So what's
Yeah.
your advice for moms that are feeling like that?
Yeah. So losing themselves, I think that still goes back for me, that goes back to that transition, doing that role transition. So you're going
Hmm.
from being either a single mom or a single woman or a newly married couple to now being a mom of an infant, of a newborn baby. And so with that, it just starts to kind of unravel, because we are trying to make sure that everything is done. We're trying to make sure that baby is taken care of. We're trying to make sure everything else is being taken care of. And in the midst of all of that, we lose ourselves. We kind of forget what we like to do, especially if we aren't engaging ourselves in that self-care. We're so wrapped up in what needs to be done for baby, what needs to be done for so-and-so, that we lose ourselves. We don't even know what we enjoy anymore, because we're so stuck on watching Gracie's Corner or whatever other, child shows, that, because it's like, I have to do what my baby needs or what my child needs. And it's solely focused on the child and everybody else, to where we just lose that sense of self. What do I even like anymore? What are some of the things that I used to enjoy? I literally had a mom that she was like, I don't even know what I like now compared to what she liked before, because everything has been wrapped around her kids. She's a mom of 3. She is married, and everything else before that was, oh, I'm a single woman, I can do this and I can do that. But once that starts to change, we get a sense of, okay, well, I'm wife, I'm mom, I'm employee, I'm sister, I'm this, I'm that. And with those different labels, it's at the end of the day, where are you in the midst of all of this? And so again, that's where it goes back to where it's for us, we have to feel like we're being everything to everybody, and everybody else, and doing everything that, we just, in the midst of that, we forget who we are. And so my advice is, number one, do your self-care. Because once you have to, with your self-care, is doing things that you love, is doing things that you enjoy. And so once you get in your routine and being consistent with your self-care, that is your time to focus on who you are. Of course, there's other things, journaling, there's a slew of different things that you can do, but for sure, I would say that you have to be able to be okay with putting yourself first. Be okay with saying, sometimes, you know what, your emergency is not my emergency. Because you waited to the last minute to get something done doesn't mean that I have to stop everything that I'm doing to do what you need me to do. And being okay with saying no. It's hard. Of course, we as women, we feel like we have to meet everyone's needs. But it is okay to say no and be fine with it and keep on going with whatever you had going on, because otherwise, again, that's how that trap starts, of that whole cycle of, I'm doing for this person, I'm doing for that person. And then when we look at it, is who's doing something for me? We're doing so much for everybody else, that when we really need somebody, are those same people doing the same thing for you? And so now it's a whole nother situation of, well, nobody loves me, nobody is giving me this and that, but it's, you've allowed yourself, and I can say that I'm guilty of that, 100% guilty of that. I'm in social work, so I feel like I got to, jump in and do everything for everybody sometimes. And then I've gotten to the point to where I'm like, you know what? This is my break. This is where I'm going to tap out. Somebody else going to figure it out, and I'll be okay with that. So being intentional.
Definitely being intentional, and giving the same care that you give to others to yourself.
Absolutely.
We gotta be I don't know. The terminology that I want to use is not quite exactly it, but it's just relentless, almost, as relates to our own self-care and our own boundaries, or what have you, or time
boundaries. That's a good one. Setting boundaries. That is another one. Saying no, being intentional, self-care, and setting boundaries. Setting boundaries with people that, don't respect them otherwise, and you're forcing them to respect your boundaries. Again, I think it still kind of goes along with being okay with saying no. But it's, sometimes we, if you get, as they say, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And so being, all right, I give them your inch, this is your inch, and that is it. You can't pass go. There's no click $200, no nothing. It is straight no and being okay with it.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So my mom said, "Moms, you need to hear what she is saying and take her advice." Yeah, no, it's serious. Now I will speak in a moment of transparency. Uh, After raising my son, and when it was time for him to go to college, I kind of was lost because I
Mhm.
had poured so much of myself into him
Mhm.
and didn't really know what I liked because I was Jabari's mom. And so, a lot of the aspects of who I was focused on him.
Mhm.
I didn't really take a whole lot of time for myself. So I had to find myself. It's a
Mhm.
shame that it took him to leave the house for that to happen. But I encourage, mothers all the time to enjoy your time with your children, but also
Mhm.
enjoy the time with yourself as well.
Yeah.
And, identify those things that you like to do and do them.
One thing that just came to mind, that I think that also contributes to the perfection part is comparison, not
Mm,
just what TV shows, but comparison to what other moms do. So,
mhm,
now listen, I've gotten to the point of being okay with on the weekend, I'm sitting in my house, I'm sitting in my room, and I'm watching TV, and I'm okay with that. But there are
mhm,
some moms that feel like, oh, I got to get my kids out every weekend. I got to take them somewhere. Or, they have their kids in all of these different sports and all these travel teams. And you have some moms that's like, well, dang, well, why can't I do that? I can't even, get my kids to school on time. And so releasing that part of comparison, because it maybe it's something in their life to where they're able to, and you just don't have that at the time, and being okay with it. I mean, with my oldest son, we did what was that, Pee Wee sports, but it was practice was on the same day as games, and that was it.
mhm,
I think it was with YMCA. That was cool enough for me. But now with how these sports are, you got to practice every day, and you practice them for 3-4 hours at a time, and then you got the games and so on and so forth. Again, that's how we end up losing ourselves, because we're so wrapped up in being these kids 5-6 years old. They got forever to play football or be in whatever these sports and different cheer teams and this, that, and the third. Like, it's cute. Yes, we want our kids to be engaged and want our kids to be involved. However, when it gets to the point to where you're exhausting yourself, if it gets to the point where you can't do the things that you want to do, you have to cancel dinner plans, or you have to cancel plans with friends because you got to make sure the 5-year-old is going to, it's just, sometimes you got to say, you know what? I'll let you have it. It's too much.
yeah, sometimes yeah, it is too much. Yeah, some of these
Yeah,
sports, games and practices and all of that, it's a whole nother job. I mean,
it
you spend
is. It
20
is.
20 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
with some of the activities. So yeah, maybe we don't have to cut back on some of this again so
Right.
that mom can get some time, or again encourage the community to assist. Call on,
Mhm.
Auntie uh, Carmen to come pick up, Donnie from,
Oh,
you
she
know,
was definitely, both of my
practice.
sisters, they was definitely there. Like, so 100%.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Listen, Shanae said, "OMG, I'm the ultimate activity mom."
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Then they got the mom groups within the group. So then it's like, oh, I got to be
Hmm.
active with the moms too. And it's,
Right.
again, I mean, I guess that could be the part of the good part about self-care is, okay, yeah, I'm doing this with the kids, but at least I can talk to other moms and kind of relate to them. So I guess
Hmm.
that part, that there could be some support in that. I'm just primarily referring to moms that are just over exhausting themselves in engulfing themselves in all of these different responsibilities that at this point they're having to recognize that I just need this time for myself, and being okay with
Hmm.
that. It's only been in the last maybe 5 years that I really started to be intentional with my self-care. Not just even as a mom, I mean, as a supervisor at the time, and, school and so many different things, to where, I got to the point where it would be the week of I would get on Priceline, Travelocity, somebody website, and I would book me a hotel. Jacksonville is my spot. I would get in my car. I would go to Jacksonville for the weekend by myself. My hotel, all I did was I would go and get something to eat. I'd probably go shopping in a little, the little malls, or just go walk around. By 8, 9 o'clock, I'm back in my hotel room watching TV. The same thing that I would have been watching back at home. But just the fact of, it's just me. I'm not having to cook for nobody else. I'm not having to make sure that somebody else is fed, bathed, or anything of the sort. I'm just focused on, this is just time for me. And I loved it. I haven't been able to do it in a while, of course, because of the pandemic. But this was roughly, I want to say at one point it got to be like every month that I was doing this. But then I kind of scaled back. But it was important to me that I made sure that, because I would feel myself getting to that point of, like, not necessarily anxiety, but it's like, okay, everything is starting to bother me. I'm starting to get irritated just with the small things. Somebody could call me and I'm like, what do you want? Why? What do you, and so it just, what, this is your sign, Kyra, that you need to take your break. And I would do that. And so if my other moms could recognize that, okay, I'm getting to my point. I'm getting to that point. And matter of fact, I use this analogy with one of my clients, is that if you think about a gas tank, your car, you have to have gas in your car. Self-care is that gas. And when you start to, when we start seeing when we're at a quarter of a tank, that, okay, very soon I'm going to need to put some gas in my car. That's really how you have to be with yourself in that self-care. When you find yourself getting to that point, I'm becoming irritable, I don't feel like being bothered by somebody else, or I'm getting tired of these kids. You have to be able to recognize that and do something that's going to put that gas in your body, that gas in your car, so that you can get back to full. Right? We can't run on a quarter of a tank of gas for the rest of our lives. We have to, that maintenance, that everyday maintenance of self-care is going to keep us on that full spot compared to being on that quarter tank. And I'll say, I'm a risk taker. Sometimes I get to that last little notch on the gas tank and I will still keep on going until my light comes on. And we can't do that. We can't survive on that always. And I know they say that that's not even good, because you're riding on fumes. You can mess up your car like that. Okay, well, it's the same. We can mess up our body if we are continuously running on those fumes, because then we have to go to stress. Stress leads to heart issues. So it's kind of like that domino effect that we're trying to prevent just by simply, I say it all. My only prescription that I can provide anybody, I'm not licensed to give any medicine or do any prescriptions, but my 100% prescription is self-care. If it's 15 minutes a day, do something for yourself so that you don't get lost in the everyday struggles and battles of what life brings us. Because that's the other part is, we don't know when something else may come up. We don't know when that emergency is going to come up. And if you're already on a quarter of a tank and that emergency comes up, that's going to deplete it. And then how are you going to be any good to anybody at that point?
No, very, very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I'm with Shanae. She said a weekend alone sounds amazing. I think I'm going to be, that's going to be my from me Christmas gift this year.
Yes, please do. I promise you, it is rewarding. Matter of fact, Carmen, she's like, how do you do that? Like, I feel like I want to talk to somebody. I feel like I need, listen, I'm okay with just being by myself. If I want to talk to somebody, I call them on the phone. Like I'm okay with being by myself. By all means, I'm okay with being by myself. So
yes,
you have to be, just got to take it.
So start with making it a Christmas gift, and then maybe doing it once a quarter until you can maybe work your way up to once a month, right?
And then sprinkle in some many things in between that. Don't let it just be once a quarter. You got to sprinkle in, everything, in between. So yes,
for sure. But start. Just get started. That's
Make a
the main
start. Make a
thing.
start. Make a
That is
start.
the main thing. So I want to get the audience involved. So what are some things that you do, moms, for self care? What are some things that you do for self care? In the comments, let us know. Uh, Kyra talked about going to Jacksonville once a month for a weekend. What are some things that you do? Is it listening to music? Is it taking a hot bubble bath? Maybe it's going for a walk. Let us know. What are some things that you do in the comments, please? Yeah, again, because of all of the hats and the roles that we have, we often that guilt does set in, but we've got
Mm.
to, um, take the time. So somebody just texted me and said that journaling, that's what they
Okay.
do, as well as, hold on, having quiet time in the morning when everyone is asleep. Also,
Yes.
going to
Hmm.
the store alone.
Uninterrupted. Yes. And I would even say going to the store alone. And I've told somebody else, self-care is even, how at the store they have like the little at the checkout aisle, they have
Hmm.
like, just a little different little knickknacks. Just even buying you something off of the knickknack, off the dollar aisle. Like that is still
Okay.
something that is self-care because it's like, this is mine. I'm gonna hide this piece of candy. I'm gonna hide it in my purse. I'm not gonna give none to my children. This is for me and for me only. And that is even self-care. So
So we said the other night at the Black Women's Emotional Wellness Experience that self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. All right, y'all repeat
not
after
at
me.
all.
Self-care is not
Self-care
selfish.
is not selfish by any means.
Indeed. Shayla said lately I've been getting back into reading, also listening to music. Yes. Nora, my cousin Nora in Virginia, thank you for being here. She said I go to the park by myself and just sit. Yes.
Mhm.
Uh, Carvia.
Caribbean. You get
I'm
closer.
gonna,
You getting
I'm
closer.
gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Caribia. So she goes and sleeps in the car and eats somewhere by herself. Yes,
Oh,
Caribia. Yeah.
that's like the best thing. Oh my goodness. Not having to pay for nobody else's food. Zaxby's is expensive when you're doing more than one person. Whew.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. Carmen said when I drive home after work, I sit in the car for about 10 to 15 minutes and listen to music. Yes. 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 Yeah, we talked about that on Monday as well. That the car is now the new kind of closet because
Mhm.
you try to get away in the bathroom, they're gonna be knocking on the door asking you for something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
sitting in the car, that's the new
Yeah.
quiet space. Hmm. And Shanae said, I love going to coffee shops, listening to music, shopping alone, and late night Netflix binging alone. Okay.
Mhm.
All good stuff. Thank you all for sharing. That's great.
Take yourself out to eat. Go sit at the bar. It might be somebody that'll pay for your dinner. I've had that happen once. It was literally just
Mm,
my day of self-care. I went to the bar and it was a guy. He was like, "Hey, I'm here on a business trip. I got to make it seem like I'm doing some work. I need to pay for multiple people." So he paid for myself, him, and it was another lady sitting on the other. He wasn't trying to talk to. He wasn't asking for no phone numbers,
oh,
no
wow.
nothing. So you never know. But yeah, go take
Mhm.
yourself out to eat. That is another
Okay.
wonderful part.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Yeah, I do that quite often actually. So, but self-care is not selfish. So please, 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 moms out there, please take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. All right. Well, we are coming to the end of our broadcast. So,
So
any,
fast.
I know, right? Any final thoughts that you wish to share with the viewers?
Of course, at the end of the day, you started this journey with just you. before you got married, before you had kids, and you always have to tap into who that person was. Never lose yourself in the midst of trying to be perfect for anybody else. And that strive for perfection can sometimes hinder us. Yes, we want to do good. Yes, we want to, make straight A's. Yes, we want to, do everything that we need to do for everybody else and the roles that we play. But in the midst of that, we can overextend ourselves with trying to be perfect. And so not being perfect is okay. So releasing that expectation, also releasing the expectation of others as well. We want to make sure that, we are meeting our kids' needs and our spouses and everything else. But sometimes there are just times where you just have to say, enough is enough. I need to step away. And so releasing that expectation, also the expectation of being perfect, is definitely going to start you on that journey. And once you do all of that with incorporating your self-care so that you don't lose yourself in the midst of it, that also helps with you being able to just kind of get back in the rhythm. If you feel like you've already lost yourself, it helps you get back in that rhythm of figuring out what it is that you like, what you like to do, so that you don't get so engulfed and wrapped up in, all of the different roles that we play and that we do throughout our, our day-to-day lives. And so just as, again, as I said, we have to take care of our dental care, our dental health, our physical health. We have to take care of our mental health. And that really starts with us sometimes. And not feeling like you are crazy, not feeling like, something is completely wrong with you in the event that you do have depression or anxiety. I mean, there have been times where I've been depressed. There's been times where I've been anxious. And it just kind of comes with life. There are things that do happen that kind of change the circumstances. It may change how we feel, but it's how do you cope with that afterwards? So not living in the moments that you're having, but living with them. I think that's the difference. Not living in, whatever it is that you're going through, but living with it. And living with it is finding ways to cope with, whatever that you may be going through, and reaching out for help, support, community, spouse, whoever, being able to utilize that support. You okay?
Got a tickle.
Oh, you went down the wrong pipe. So yeah.
So they said, can you read that for me?
Sure. Miss Sinead says, thank you so much for this. This is right on time. I strive so hard to be Claire Huxtable of my household, but working on giving myself more grace. Yes, we love Claire Huxtable. Like, okay, now, of course, we know that, the whole Cosby Show thing, but that's neither here nor there. Claire Huxtable was the epitome of what we wanted to see. But what you have to remember is that we saw what TV showed us, right? So we didn't see the times where she was struggling, and so we don't know what that looks like. And so with that, we were only able to see, the good side of Claire Huxtable. But I'm quite sure, there were some things that she could have improved on. And so with that, don't strive to be somebody who you didn't get to see the full circle of. You only saw one half of that. And being okay with not getting it right and giving yourself that grace that you don't have to be perfect is 100% okay. Like you don't have to be. I promise it is okay. They're still gonna love you the same. They're still gonna love you the same.
Indeed. So Carmen said, all new moms need this message. Yes, they do. Not living in, but living with. Yes. Kaylin said, I see you, Dr. Adams.
All right, Lady E.
Very good. All right. So do you have anything coming up, and how can folks connect with you?
Oh, do I have anything coming up? I don't have anything coming up. Primarily, if you are might have joined late, but for anybody that may be pregnant, I do provide childbirth and breastfeeding education, and then I also work with moms that are experiencing perinatal or postpartum depression. Also, just sometimes stress management. You may not necessarily have the feelings of depression, but just kind of how can I improve on whatever. We can talk about those things. I can say that a lot of times my clients might come through talking about postpartum depression, but then we end up talking about relationships, we end up talking about family, we end up talking about friends. But it's more about how can I cope with what's going on in my life compared to just the just the daunting part of life. So feel free to reach out. My telephone number and my email address it's rolling on the stream. I see. I'm also on social media, Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram, I think it's MAPS, so MAPS_tally. And then Facebook, I think it's just Maternal and Perinatal Services. But my services are all at no cost. It will continue to be that way. I was telling Miss Nicole that I started off as an LLC just because I wanted to get the work done. I am now official as a nonprofit, but regardless, my services have always been at no cost because, again, if we talk about gaps and barriers or barriers and gaps, however you want to say it, finances, insurance, all of those things come into play. And so I did not want that to be a factor for somebody not receiving services. So I do this out of it being my passion. I do this out of it being my calling, and I'm sticking with it. I'm running with it until the wheels fall off. So
love it. Listen, I am of the mindset that we have all that we need within our community. And so I definitely encourage us, the community, to support Kyra and her efforts because she is really doing the work. I have referred some of my clients and citizens to her, and they've said nothing but great things about her and the work that she does. So let's find ways to support her efforts and see her win and help her to be successful in her gifts and talents. We all have gifts and talents that the world is waiting on. And so she is sharing hers, but
yes,
without the salary, without
right,
the funding. We don't want that to continue to be the case.
right,
You know,
yes,
she does need to make a living. So please, please,
yes.
please, please support her because she's doing a wonderful work. My
Thank you.
sister, you're welcome. My sister said this topic definitely hit me tonight. I strive to be the best mom, best wife, best daughter, best sister, teacher, etc. And a lot of what was mentioned tonight hit home for me, especially about self-care. Amen, my sister. Well, hope you will set some boundaries and
Mm,
be intentional about your self-care and get yourself some right away.
yes,
All
yes.
right, so we get a couple of hand claps. So hopefully it's been beneficial to you all. If it has, let us know. You have been with some of the comments that you've been providing. Please share this with others. Please like and share. Tag a friend, a loved one, who you think might benefit from this. Marjorie said, what you are doing is amazing and much needed in the community." Thank you,
Oh,
Marjorie.
thank you. And this is really what I think that it's in my vision. I think it's just really to be the community leader in this situation, because we get so caught up in the funding to where you're so focused on I need to raise these dollars, where you're more focused on the dollars and not about the service. And so I'm really striving to be that community service provider for this area, because I know that it is needed, like I said, for people and families that look like us.
Absolutely. My mom said, please continue.
No,
So,
I am.
indeed. All right. So, for those of you who may be new to the platform, I got to give a little plug for Conversations with Nicole. Please like and share and subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel. Subscribing and supporting, and we need all the support we can get. Trying to get to 4,000 viewing hours by December 31st. So treat it like a podcast. We just talking. That's all we doing. Play
Right.
some of those episodes. Let it play. Let it play. Let it play on YouTube. Help me get to 4,000 viewing hours by the end of the year. All right. Well, again, we are wrapping this up. We definitely want y'all to be careful and safe out here in these Florida streets with Hurricane Nicole on the loose. Mhm. But also do some self-care for especially for you moms out there.
Right.
All right.
So that's y'all homework. Whoever is watching, I always give my clients homework at the end of our sessions. So my homework for you all is to do some form of self-care in the next 24 hours. That is your homework.
Yes, because some of y'all off tomorrow because the schools are
Right.
closed and all of that. So yes, no excuse. Do some self-care tomorrow. All right.
Yes.
All right, good people. We will see y'all next time. Have a good evening.
Bye, everybody. It was so fun.